Hi lovelies, welcome back to another video. So today I'm doing these beginner friendly acrylic nails with a very cute and simple butterfly nail art design. But before I go any further, make sure that you are subscribed by clicking on that subscribe button and go ahead and turn your post notifications on so you don't miss out whenever I drop a new video. I'd like to give a huge shout out to the entire notification squad. These were the first 3 people to get in and drop a comment on my last upload. So let's finally jump into today's video. For my application today, I'm using this JC Beauty Concepts glittery pink acrylic powder. I'm also using my JC Beauty Concepts acrylic monomer. So today I am doing my acrylic application on Sarah. You guys remember my practice hand? Well, Sarah is what my son calls her, so she's going to be my quarantine client today. So if you're doing this on your natural nails, which I believe most of you are given the time that we are in right now, you definitely want to go in and prep your nail bed properly, and I do have a dedicated prep video for that, and I would link it in the cards on the screen and also in my description box below, so you guys can go ahead and check that video out. But for my practice hand, all I'm going to do is take my Melody Susie Scarlet e-file as well as a 150 grit sanding band, and I'm going to remove all the shine from off the nail plate. Now I did leave it in so you guys can see exactly how I would position my sanding band if it is I'm going in and around my client's cuticle area. Now it is okay to touch a spot on the nail more than one time. The only difference is you're not leaving your sanding band in that spot too long. So you're going to go over the entire nail, you look at it, if you see any shiny spots, then you go back in again and very lightly go over that spot. Remember, you do not want to put any added pressure on these e-files because they are rotating at a certain speed per minute. I like to work on my e-file at 3000 RPMs when I'm working on the nail plate, so definitely you can cause damage if it is you press on that nail or if you leave the sanding band in the same spot for too long. So I'm going to be applying my nail tips. Now usually I apply my glue to my tip and then place it on the nail, but because I have to hold the silicone hand and apply the tips at the same time, I went in and I placed a strip of glue across the free edge of her nail bed, and then I went in and just stuck my nail tips on, making sure they are nice and straight. And what I love about this glue is that it gives you a few seconds. If that nail is not straight, you can quickly go ahead and just lift it up and straighten it before that glue starts to set. Her nail tips applied, I like to go in and blend the tip into the natural nail plate. Now if you were doing a gel extension, you definitely need to go in and remove the shine from the entire nail tip, but because I'm doing acrylic nails, I didn't even have to do this blending step. To blend that tip, I am not touching the natural nail plate. I am keeping my sanding band parallel to the extension and the nail bed and trying my best to work my drill in one direction until that tip is fully blended or blended enough to the point where I am happy with it. and this is what they should look like. Those nail plates have no shiny spots on them, and that tip is nicely blended. So now taking my stalk scissors, you can use a nail clipper. Usually I recommend my straight edge nail clippers, but I didn't have them on hand for this video, so I'm just using my scissors to take away the tip of the extension. Now because these nails are already pre-shaped, I don't have much reshaping to do, so I want to share with you guys this 21 piece colorful nail file set by McCart. And let me tell you guys, these are so cute and I've been loving them lately, so I wanted to share it with you guys. And I do have them now featured on my Amazon storefront. You get 21 files, you get 7 100 180 grit, 180 240 grit, and then 100 150 grit, and they are color coded and they are also labeled with the days of the week. That part I don't really care too much for because I use any file on any day. So for example, for this video I am using the Sunday, and I'm just running through the colors really quickly with you guys here now, and I'm using Sunday because it's pink, and I know I'm uploading this video on Wednesday, and my son asked me if I don't know my days of the week because it's not Sunday, mommy, which I found was just so cute. So on your hand file, the 100 grit side is going to be a coarse side and the 180 grit side is going to be more smooth. So I am going to take the 100 grit side of my hand file and I'm going to use this to taper in the free edge of that tip even more. As you guys can see, I started at an angle so you can see a little bit of pink, and then I work my way up the side so all you get to see is white. And because of the shape of these nails, I don't have much reshaping to do. I do like to go in because sometimes there's like a belly between the actual free edge and the nail bed, so I like to eliminate that so that it's nice and straight when it's time for me to lay my acrylic, so that when I'm finished with my acrylic application I don't have that much reshaping to go in and do. So at this point you want to take your dust brush and remove all the heavy dust, and then take your manicure brush with alcohol and go in and scrub your nail plate nice and clean. I use alcohol instead of dehydrator. It does the exact same thing. And before you go in with your acrylic application, you definitely need to go in with a primer once you're doing this on your natural nails. Now JC Beauty Concepts recently launched a trial kit that has everything you need to do an acrylic application, so I will link that in my description box below, and you guys can also save yourself 15% off if you use my coupon code, which is down there as well. With my acrylic powder and my number 12 oval Kolinsky brush by Alpha Brush, I placed a medium-sized bead where the natural nail and the nail tip will meet, and then using the body of my brush I pressed that bead from side to side, making sure it's as even as possible, and then I started pulling it towards the free edge. Once that brush starts to feel as though the acrylic is going to start sticking to it, that is when I go in and stop patting my acrylic and start stroking it. If you stroke the acrylic too quickly, then you'll be just wiping all of the product off the nail. So now I'm going in with a medium-sized bead and I'm placing it right behind where that previous bead had stopped, and I'm going to blend it back towards the cuticle area into the bead that was already there. So taking my brush, as you guys can see, I'm patting from side to side, and you saw that little tug of acrylic that happened. So because that started happening, which means my brush is starting to lose all the liquid that is currently in it, and it's going to start allowing that acrylic powder to clamp to the bristles, and I don't want that. So that is when I go in and stop patting and start stroking my acrylic and bringing it towards the free edge of the extension. The free edge of this nail needs a little more thickness, so I just went in with a small bead, and instead of pulling it forward, I'm stroking it back towards the cuticle area, and this is just going to help everything to blend in nice and seamlessly. And the reason why I stroke out the acrylic when it starts to clamp to my brush is to make sure that there are no harsh lines in between the beads of acrylic. And another way you can apply your acrylic is by starting with the cuticle bead. So for me, I like going in with the cuticle area, making sure that everything is nicely sealed in around the cuticle and sidewalls, and then I take my brush and pat that bead as far up the nail as it can go using the same technique. And when it starts pulling to the bristles of my brush or sticking to the bristles of my brush, I go in and stroke that bead out to eliminate any harsh lines. After that, I take my second bead and place it right behind where that first bead stopped, blending it back into that cuticle bead, and then I'm going to start the patting motion again. I like to pat my acrylic in place because it's going to build up the thickness faster than me just resting a bead of acrylic down on the nail and then starting to stroke it out one time. And I'm just going to continue placing down beads until I cover the entire nail, doing the exact same thing, applying the bead to the nail, pulling it back towards the cuticle area, and then pulling it forward just to make sure everything is nice and even. After I do those 3 beads, I come back in with my 4th bead and place it right where the natural nail and the extension would meet. I pat behind that bead, which is closer to the cuticle area, and then I come in front of it, which is closer to the free edge of the extension, and start stroking it down. This is going to help you to create that apex. As you guys can see, I didn't pat that bead as far down the nail as possible. I left the thickness right in that area and just made sure everything was nicely blended and that acrylic was laid as smooth as possible. Also, while I'm working that bead down the nail, as you guys can see, I continuously keep passing my brush at the sides of the extension, and this is to help to maintain the shape of this nail as well. So therefore, we are trying our best not to have too much filing when the acrylic is set before we go in with our design. And one more important tip is, if you place down that cuticle bead and you realize that acrylic has gotten on the skin, you wipe your brush on a clean paper towel and then you go in a C motion around that cuticle area just to remove any of that product that would have gotten on the skin, because once there's product on the skin, it is cause for lifting and your nails are not going to last. And that C motion is also going to assist in sealing that acrylic in. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to repeat the exact same method to all the nails, so you guys can go ahead and speed this part up. You can slow it down. I left this part in real time so you guys can see how fast I actually work, or how slow, whichever way you want to look at it. For me, I'm just comfortable with this speed and I focus more on laying my acrylic so that way I don't have much filing to do. Now, if you are a beginner and this is your first time, it is going to take you a few tries to get it right. At the end of the day, I can just give you guys pointers. You can now go in and use these pointers to develop a method that works best for you. Every single beginner friendly acrylic tutorial is going to be different, and the reason for that is we all learned from a particular technique and then we went ahead while practicing and executed that technique to a point where we personally are comfortable with working with our acrylic product. So you definitely need to practice. There is no magic tutorial that is just going to allow you to be able to perfect acrylic application, so you definitely need to practice it until you are happy and comfortable with laying your acrylic. So go ahead and practice on a fake nail, on a tip, practice on a practice sheet. And if you guys want me to upload my practice sheet so you guys can go ahead and download it, let me know in the comment section below and I will post that link on my community tab so you guys can have access to a practice sheet if you don't already have one. So I am just going to leave you guys right here now to watch the rest of my acrylic application, and I'll meet you guys right back when it is time to file. Here are what my nails look like before I go in and reshape and file them nice and smooth. As you guys can see, I don't have that much filing to do at all. So I'm taking this extra fine ceramic drill bit and I'm going to use this to start eliminating some of the roughness that the acrylic would have left. I also use this to sort of tape in my shape as well. And I pull from cuticle to free edge to make sure that that nail is nice and smooth and there are no bumps and ridges across the entire nail plate. And after I do this, I'm going to take that same drill bit and I'm going to work it around the cuticle area and sidewalls to seal my acrylic in. Going back in with this same pink hand file, I'm going to hold my hand file at a 45-degree angle and work it all the way up to a 90-degree angle without lifting my file away from the sidewalls of those nails. This is going to give me a nice sharp coffin shape, and I don't like my coffin tips very tapered at the tip. I like to see a little more square at the free edge. Everybody's preference is going to be different when it comes to a different shape, so you can do yours to suit you. And then after I do that, I'm going to take the 180 grit side of my hand file and just finish file over the entire nail. This is going to help to eliminate any scratches from my drill bit, which I really didn't have anything much, and it's also going to give my gel polish something to hold to. You do not want to over buff this part of the nail because then it's going to be way too smooth and you're not going to have anything for your polish to hold to. So that way, maybe after 2 to 3 days, your polish is going to start to chip or peel up, and you don't want that. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish filing the rest of these nails. So you guys can sort of see the difference between the index finger and the middle finger and the ring finger and the pinky nail, which has not been filed as yet. Well, I don't really have that much filing to do. So here are all my nails filed and reshaped. So for my design today, I am using my Macart Nail Art Foil Glue, but I would say foil gel, this butterfly transfer foil, and I just went ahead and cut out the ones that I want to use for this set. I'm using these Swarovski crystals, which I found paired really nicely with this design, and my favorite rhinestone gel, also by Macart. So I'm going to be applying a thin layer of this foil gel, and I'm going to cure it for 60 seconds. That is the recommended cure time for this product, and I do allow it to cool down just for like about 5 seconds after it comes out of the light. I personally find it's a lot more tacky and you don't have to rub in your transfer foil as much to apply to the nail. So I'm just placing these butterflies randomly on the nail, and then with the back of my tweezers I'm just going to use that to rub them in, and I'm slowly going to remove that top plastic just to make sure that everything transferred really well. And if I find that I still see pieces of my butterfly on that plastic, I'm just going to rest it right back which part it was and continue to just rub it in until the entire thing transfers. Now I'm going in with my rhinestone gel, and I'm going to be placing just 3 beads on this nail. So as that gem gel is still wet, before applying my crystals, I'm going to coat over the entire nail with my Madam Glam's No Wipe Gel Top Coat. Now into that wet gel, I'm going to start laying my crystals, and then I'm going to pop it into the light and cure it for 30 seconds. So now I'm going to go in and repeat the exact same butterfly design on this nail. And finally, for this set, I'm just going to place one of those same crystals to the cuticle area on the index finger and the pinky finger. Apply my cuticle oil. Yes, I do. I cuticle her oil up, and I will have a clip of the final result at the end of the video to share with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button if you're still with me and you have not done it as yet. Take 2 seconds and do that right now. So that is it for me. I hope you guys are having an amazing day or night or whatever time it is where you are right now. As always, I would love for you guys to stay glamorous, be safe, and I'll see you soon.